Hello everyone, welcome to IB Math Solution. Today we'll learn how to solve quadratic equations. So first, let's start with the discussion what the quadratic equations are. We can say any equation of this form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is called a quadratic equation given that a should not be equal to 0. Now, in order to solve quadratic equations, we have four methods. First method is null factor law. So in exercise 4D.1, we'll study the null factor law. Second is complete square form that we'll study in exercise 4D.2. Third one is using quadratic formula that we'll study in exercise 4D.3. And the fourth one is by using technology, that is your graphics display calculator, and that we'll be learning in exercise 4E. So let's get started. Now solve for x by using factorization method. So 4x square plus 7x is equal to 0. While factorizing, we need to write this equation in terms where two numbers are multiplied together, such as a into b is equal to 0. To write this equation in factorization form, we need to take some common element from these two terms. What can that be? That common element is x. So if we take x from 4x square, only 4x remains. And if we take x from 7x, only 7 remains. Therefore, we are left with a number multiplied with another number. So this is the factored form of equation. Now to solve this, we can say either x is equal to 0 or 4x plus 7 is equal to 0. Solving this one, we get x is equal to negative 7 divided by 4. Therefore, we can say x is equal to 0 or negative 7 by 4. That's the answer. B. 6x square plus 2x is equal to 0. Now here we can take 2x as the common term. Now inside the parenthesis, 3x plus 1 is left. So from here we can say either 2x is equal to 0 or 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. So from here x is equal to 0, and from here x is equal to negative 1 by 3. Therefore we can say x is equal to 0 or negative 1 by 3. That's the answer. E. 3x square is equal to 8x. Now we cannot cancel this x with one of the x's here, because if we do so, we'll be left with only one solution and the other solution will vanish. That's why we need to take everything on one side. Therefore 3x square minus 8x is equal to 0. Taking a term common, that would be x, we are left with 3x minus 8 is equal to 0. So from here we can say x is equal to 0 or 3x minus 8 is equal to 0. So from here we can say x is equal to 8 divided by 3. Hence we can say x is equal to 0 or 8 by 3. That's the answer. So the ones marked in red are for you to do on your own. I'll go to the next question. X square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now this equation is of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. We can say a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 5, and C is equal to 6. So first what we need to do is we need to take A and multiply it with C. That is going to be 1 times 6, that is equal to 6. Now what we need to do is we need to take two numbers such that, let's say those two numbers are n1 and n2. We need to take two numbers n1 and n2 such that n1 plus n2 is equal to b, and n1 times n2 is equal to AC, that is 6, and b we know is equal to -5. So we need to take two numbers such that the summation of those two numbers is equal to -5 and the product of those two numbers is equal to 6. So what could those numbers be? Can we say if we take n1 is equal to -3 and n2 is equal to -2, then n1 plus n2 is -5 and this is equal to b. So this condition is satisfied. Now n1 times n2 is equal to -3 times -2, that is 6, and this is equal to AC. From here we can see this is 6. So this condition is also satisfied. Now this equation can be rewritten in the form x square plus n1x plus n2x plus 6 is equal to 0. So writing this equation in this form, we can write x square plus -3 of x plus -2 of x plus 6 is equal to 0. Opening these parentheses, we get x square minus 3x minus 2x plus 6. Now we can take common terms. So let's take common from the first half of the equation first. That is going to be x, and in parentheses we are left with x minus 3. Again, taking a common term from the second half of the equation, we get -2, and in the parentheses we are left with x minus 3, and this is equal to 0. Now we know the multiplication of these two numbers is equal to a times c plus d plus b times c plus d. Can we say our equation, this equation is in this form? So from here we can write our equation like this. So we can say this equation is x minus 2 multiplied with x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now this equation is a multiplication of two numbers, or rather a factored equation it is. Now from here we can say x minus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So from here x is equal to 2 and from here x is equal to 3. Therefore we can say x is equal to 2 or 3. That's the answer. Now d is x square plus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. Now we'll do this question using some shortcuts now. So we know this is a and this is c. So the multiplication of these two numbers is 1 times 12, that is 12. Now we need to come up with two numbers such that those two numbers add up to make 7 and the product of those two numbers is 12. So can we say those two numbers are 4 and 3? So if we take 4 plus 3, that is equal to 7, and this is equal to this number. And if we take 4 times 3, that is 12, and that is equal to this number. So from here, we can simply write this equation in the form x square plus 4x plus 3x plus 12 is equal to 0. And taking x common from the first half, we get x into x plus 4, and 3 common from the second half, we get 3 into x plus 4, that is equal to 0. And from here, we can write this equation as x plus 3 times x plus 4 is equal to 0. And from here, we can say x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 3, or x is equal to negative 4. Therefore, x is equal to negative 3 or negative 4. That's the answer. E. X square is equal to 2x plus 8. So x square minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. From here we have 1, and from here we have negative 8. So if we multiply 1 with negative 8, we get negative 8. Now two such numbers, so that the summation of those two numbers is negative 2 and product is negative 8, are negative 4 and 2. So if we check, negative 4 plus 2 is equal to negative 2. This number is equal to this number. And negative 4 times 2 is equal to negative 8. This number is equal to this number. Therefore, we can rewrite this equation x square minus 4x plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. Taking x common from the first half, x into x minus 4 plus 2 into x minus 4. And we can write this equation x plus 2 times x minus 4 is equal to 0. So from here, either x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we can say x is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to 4. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2 or 4. I. X square plus 8x is equal to 33. So rearranging the equation, we get x square plus 8x minus 33 is equal to 0. 1 and negative 33. 1 times negative 33. We get negative 33. Two numbers such that the summation is equal to plus 8 and product is equal to negative 33 are 11 and negative 3. So if we add these two numbers, we get 8, that is equal to this number. And if we multiply these two numbers, we get negative 33, that is equal to this number. So we can write this equation x square plus 11x minus 3x minus 33 is equal to 0. Taking x common, we get x plus 11. Taking negative 3 common, we get x plus 11. And hence, we can say x minus 3 times x plus 11 is equal to 0. So, x minus 3 is 0, or x plus 11 is 0. X is equal to 3, or x is equal to negative 11. Therefore, x is equal to 3 or negative 11. That's the answer. Let's go to the next question. Solve for x. So I'll solve the ones circled in blue only. The ones circled in red are for you to solve on your own. 3x square plus 5x is equal to 2. So taking everything on one side, we get 3x square plus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now this is 3, this is negative 2. If we multiply 3 with negative 2, we get negative 6. Now two numbers such that the summation is 5 and product is negative 6 are 6 and negative 1. So 6 plus negative 1 is 5, that is equal to this number, and 6 times negative 1 is equal to negative 6, that is equal to this number. Therefore, we can write this equation 3x square plus 6x minus 1x minus 2 is equal to 0. Taking 3x common from the first half, we get 3x into x plus 2. Taking negative 1 common from the second half, we get negative 1 into x plus 2, that is equal to 0. And hence 3x minus 1 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. So 3x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. So from here we get x is equal to 1 divided by 3, and from here we get x is equal to negative 2. Therefore, x is equal to 1 divided by 3 or negative 2. That's the answer. H. 4x square plus 4x is equal to 3. So let's solve. 4x square plus 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now 4 times negative 3 is equal to negative 12. Now two numbers such that the summation is 4 and product is negative 12 is 6 and negative 2. Let's see how. 6 plus negative 2 is 4. That is equal to this number. And 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. That is equal to this number. So this equation becomes 4x square plus 6x minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Taking 2x common, we get 2x plus 3. Taking negative 1 common, we get 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. And hence 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, 2x minus 1 is 0, or 2x plus 3 is 0. So from here, x is equal to 1 divided by 2. And from here, x is equal to negative 3 divided by 2. Therefore, x is equal to half, or negative 3 divided by 2. L. 15x square plus 2x is equal to 56. Let's rearrange. 15x square plus 2x minus 56 is equal to 0. Now 15 times negative 56, we get negative 840. Two numbers such that the summation is positive 2 and product is negative 840 are 30 and negative 28. Let's see how. 30 plus negative 28 becomes 2, which is equal to this number. And 30 times negative 28 is negative 840. That is equal to this number. Therefore, we can rewrite this equation 15x square plus 30x minus 28x minus 56 is equal to 0. Taking 15x common, we get x plus 2. Taking negative 28 common, we get x plus 2. Therefore, 15x minus 28 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. From here 15x minus 28 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0. So x is equal to 28 divided by 15, and from here x is equal to negative 2. Therefore x is equal to 28 by 15 or negative 2. That's the answer. Solve for x. So I'll solve the ones circled in blue, and the ones circled in red are for you to do on your own. See, 5 minus 4x square is equal to 3 times 2x plus 1 plus 2. So let's first solve this complicated equation. 5 minus 4x square is equal to 6x plus 3 plus 2. Now this 3 plus 2 is 5, and taking that 5 onto the left hand side, we get 5 from here minus 4x square minus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now this 5 cancels this 5 and becomes 0. And we are left with negative 4x square minus 6x is equal to 0. Taking 2x common, we get negative 2x and minus 3. So from here we can say either 2x is equal to 0 or negative 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. From here x is equal to 0, and from here negative 2x is equal to 3 and x is equal to negative 3 by 2. Therefore x is equal to 0 or negative 3 by 2. D. X plus 2 by x is equal to 3. Multiply both sides by x. So we get x square plus 2 is equal to 3x. Now we can rearrange it. X square minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. This is 1, this is plus 2. 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Now two numbers such that the summation is negative 3 and product is 2 are negative 2 and negative 1. Let's see. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is equal to negative 3. Now this number is equal to this one, and negative 2 times negative 1 is equal to 2, that is equal to this number. So this equation can be written in the form x square minus 2x minus 1x plus 2 is equal to 0. X times x minus 2 minus 1 times x minus 2. X minus 1 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x minus 1 is 0 or x minus 2 is 0. X is equal to 1, x is equal to 2. Therefore x is equal to 1 or 2. X plus 3 divided by 1 minus x is equal to negative 9 divided by x. So cross multiply. So x times x plus 3 is equal to negative 9 times 1 minus x. So this becomes x square plus 3x, and this becomes negative 9 plus 9x. Taking everything on one side, we get x square plus 3x minus 9x plus 9 is equal to 0, or x square minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 0. Now 1 times 9, we get 9, and two numbers such that Their summation is -6 and product is 9 are -3 and -3. So if we add these two numbers, this becomes -6, which is equal to this number. And if we multiply these two numbers, the product is 9, which is equal to this number. Therefore, this equation can be written in the form x square minus 3x minus 3x plus 9 is equal to 0. Taking x common, x minus 3 remains inside the parenthesis. Taking -3 common, x minus 3 remains. Therefore, x minus 3 times x minus 3 is equal to 0. So, either x minus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So, x is equal to 3, and from here x is equal to 3. Now, here we have repeated solutions, or we can say repeated solutions, or only one solution. So we can say, therefore, x is equal to 3, and that's the answer. J, 4x minus 5 times 4x minus 3 is equal to 143. So let's first solve this equation. 4x times 4x minus 3 minus 5 times 4x minus 3 is equal to 143. 16x square minus 12x minus 20x plus 15 is equal to 143. 16x square minus 32x plus 15 minus 143 is equal to 0. Now 15 minus 143 is equal to -128. So we have 16x square minus 32x minus 128 is equal to 0. We can take 16 common out of these, so this remains x square minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. As we can see, 8 times 16 is equal to 128. Further solving this part, we have 1 from here, -8 from here, and it is -8. And two numbers such that the sum is -2 and product is -8 is -4 and 2. So if we add these two numbers, we get -2, that is equal to this number. And if we take product of these two numbers, that is -8, which is equal to this. So we can say this 16 can go on the right hand side and divide 0, and this whole equation will be x square minus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. Hence we can rewrite this equation x square minus 4x plus 2x minus 8 is equal to 0. Taking x common, x into x minus 4 plus 2 into x minus 4. So x minus 4 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. Hence either x minus 4 is 0 or x plus 2 is 0. Therefore, x is equal to 4 from here and x is equal to -2 from here. Or we can say x is equal to 4 or -2. This is the solution. Let's go to exercise 4D.2. Exercise 4D.2. So we'll solve the ones in the blue color and the red ones are for you to do on your own. So completing the square is based on these two formulas. X plus a whole square is equal to x square plus 2ax plus a square, and x minus a whole square is equal to x square minus 2ax plus a square. So our equation will be using these two formula to complete the squares. So let's get started. X square minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now we have a variable term and we have a constant term. Now here what we need to do, we need to separate variables and constant on either side of this equal to sign. So we rearrange the equation and we write it like x square minus 4x is equal to -1. So now this constant part is on the right hand side and variable part is on the left hand side. And now we need to manipulate this equation to write in either of these two forms we have here. So let's try. X square minus, now we have minus here, then 2ax. So we write 2. If we take 2 out of this 4x, we are left with 2x. So we have another 2 and we have x. We know this is equal to -1. Now we know this x square is equal to this x square. This -2 is equal to this -2. This x is equal to this x. So can we say that this 2 must be equal to this a? And we know if a is equal to 2, then from this equation plus a square we can write plus a is equal to 2. A square is equal to 2 square. And if we add 2 square on left hand side, we must add 2 square on the right hand side. So this equation becomes x minus a, that is 2 whole square. And on the right hand side we have -1 plus 4. So this becomes x minus 2 whole square is equal to 3. Now we know if a square is equal to 3, then we have a is equal to positive or negative root 3. So in this case, this whole term is a. We can simply write x minus 2 is equal to positive or negative root 3. Taking this -2 to the right hand side, we get x is equal to 2 plus or minus negative root 3. X is equal to 2 plus or minus root 3. So from here we know x is either equal to 2 plus root 3 or 2 minus root 3. That's the answer. C, x square minus 14x plus 46 is equal to 0. So we separate the variable and constant part. So we have x square minus 14x is equal to 46. Now again, if we rearrange this equation in this form, in either of these two forms, we get x square minus 2 into 7 into x, and this is equal to 46. Now we know this is x square, this is 2ab, so we can definitely say this is a, and hence plus a square is plus 7 square, and we do it on either sides. So this becomes x minus 7 whole square is equal to 46 plus 49. X minus 7 square is equal to 95, and x minus 7 is equal to positive or negative root 95. So we can say x is equal to 7 plus or minus root 95. Therefore, the value of x is 7 plus root 95 or 7 minus root 95. That's the answer. D. X square is equal to 4x plus 3. So x square minus 4x is equal to 3. Now we can rewrite it x square minus 2 times 2 times x is equal to 3, and we can say this is a. Therefore, if we add a square, that is 2 square here, we can also add 2 square here, and that's how we get x minus 2 whole square is equal to 3 plus 4. So x minus 2 whole square is equal to 7, and x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus root 7. Hence x is equal to 2 plus or minus root 7. So x is 2 plus root 7 or 2 minus root 7. That's the answer. H. X square plus 10 is equal to 8x. So first we need to separate the variable part, which is this, and the constant part, which is this. Therefore, x square minus 8x is equal to negative 10. So if we rewrite this equation, we get x square minus 2 times 4 times x is equal to negative 10. And from here we know the value of a is 4. Therefore, we can write plus a square, that is plus 4 square, on both sides. Hence this becomes x minus 4 whole square, and on this side we get negative 10 plus 16. That is x minus 4 whole square is equal to 6. And hence x minus 4 is equal to plus or minus root 6. And hence x is equal to 4 plus or minus root 6. That's the answer. Let's go to the next question. B. 2x square minus 10x plus 3 is equal to 0. So let's separate the variable part from the constant part. That is 2x square minus 10x is equal to negative 3. Dividing both sides by 2, so that we have only x square left here, not 2x square. So if we divide by 2, we get x square minus 5x is equal to negative 3 by 2. And now we can do the same thing as we did in the previous questions. So x square minus 2. Now if we take 2 out of this, what remains is 5 by 2. So 5 divided by 2 times x. If we multiply this term together, we get 5x. And this is equal to negative 3 divided by 2. Now here we know this is a. So we can add a square on both sides. So a square is 5 divided by 2 whole square. Now if we solve it, we get x minus 5 divided by 2 whole square, and we get negative 3 by 2 plus 25 by 4. So this is x minus 5 by 2 whole square is equal to negative 6 plus 25 divided by 4, that is equal to 19 by 4. If we take square root on both sides, so by solving it we get x minus 5 by 2 plus or minus root 19 by 4. So we know square root of 4 is 2, so we get 2. From here we can say x is equal to 5 by 2 plus or minus root 19 by 2, and this is the answer. D. 3x square is equal to 6x plus 4. So 3x square minus 6x is equal to 4. Dividing both sides by 3, we get x square minus 2x is equal to 4 by 3. Now manipulating this equation, we get x square minus 2 times 1 times x is equal to 4 divided by 3, and we know this is equal to a. Therefore we can add a square on both sides. Hence we get x minus 1 whole square on the left side and 4 divided by 3 plus 1 on the right hand side. So this becomes x minus 1 whole square is equal to 7 by 3, and x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus root 7 by 3, and as x is equal to 1 plus or minus root 7 by 3. That's the answer. A. 3x minus 2 by x is equal to 4. So multiplying both sides by x, we get 3x square minus 2 is equal to 4x. Now if we rearrange and take variable part on one side, 3x square minus 4x, and the constant part on the other, this is what we get. Now to make this term only x square, we need to divide the whole equation by 3. So dividing both sides by 3, we get x square minus 4 by 3x is equal to 2 by 3. Now we can manipulate this equation. X square minus 2 times 1 divided by 2 times 4 divided by 3 x is equal to 2 by 3. Now we know this part is a, so we can add the square of a on both sides. So we know this complete becomes 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 whole square is added to both the sides, and we get x minus 2 by 3 whole square on the left side and 2 by 3 plus 4 by 9 on the other. So this becomes x minus 2 by 3 square is equal to 6 plus 4 divided by 9, that is 10 by 9. So we can say x minus 2 by 3 is equal to positive or negative square root of 10 by 9, and we can simplify it into positive or negative square root of 10 divided by 3, and hence x is equal to 2 by 3 plus or minus root 10 divided by 3, and this is the answer. B is for you to do on your own. I'll solve C. 3 plus 1 by x square is equal to negative 5 divided by x. Now we know The maximum power of x in the denominator is x square, so we multiply both sides by x square. Multiplying both sides by x square, we get 3x square plus 1 is equal to negative 5x. Now we need to get x square here, so we need to get rid of this 3. Therefore, dividing both sides by 3, we get x square plus 1 by 3 is equal to negative 5 by 3x. And taking the variable part on one side, x square plus 5 by 3x is equal to negative 1 by 3. Now we can manipulate this equation by writing x square plus 2 times 1 by 2 times 5 by 3 times x, and it is equal to negative 1 by 3. Now we know this part is a, so we can add a square on both sides, and a is equal to 5 by 6, so we will add 5 by 6 whole square on both sides, and we get x plus 5 by 6 whole square is equal to negative 1 by 3 plus 25 divided by 36. And if we solve this, we get negative 12 plus 25 divided by 36. Solving it further, we get 13 divided by 36, and x plus 5 by 6 is equal to positive or negative square root of 13 by 36. If we solve it, we get positive or negative square root of 13 divided by 6, and x is equal to negative 5 by 6 plus or minus negative 13 by 6, and this is the answer. Let's go to the next question. Suppose ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b and c are constants and a is not equal to 0. Solve for x by completing the square. So what are the steps that we follow? So first, we need to take the constant term on one side and the variable terms on the other. So this becomes ax square plus bx is equal to negative c. Now we need to divide both sides by a. We get x square plus b by a x is equal to negative c by a. Now we need to manipulate this equation. That is going to be x square plus 2 times 1 by 2 times b by a x is equal to negative c by a. Now we know this part is a, so a is equal to 1 by 2 times b by a, or we can say b by 2a. So we can simply add b by 2a whole square on both sides. And we get x plus b by 2a whole square is equal to negative c by a plus b square by 4a square. Now if we add these two terms, we get negative 4ac plus b square divided by 4a square, or simply b square minus 4ac divided by 4a square. This is equal to, now if we take x plus b by 2a, the term on the left hand side is going to be positive or negative square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 4a square. If we take the square root of the denominator term, that will be 2a. So we can rewrite it as plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Hence, x plus b by 2a is equal to plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. And x is going to be negative b by 2a plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Or we can write x is equal to minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now this is a general solution, and this is also the quadratic equation formula. We have just derived this formula, and this formula is going to be used to solve for x in exercise 4D.3. So let's go to exercise 4D.3. So we just saw, if a quadratic equation is of this form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then the quadratic formula for it becomes x is equal to negative b plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. And we have derived it ourselves in this last question of exercise 4D.2. So let's solve some questions based on this formula. Use the quadratic formula to solve exactly for x. So a x square minus 4x minus 3 is equal to 0. If we write this equation in this form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and we can see that a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 4, and c is equal to negative 3. So using this formula, x is equal to negative of negative 4, because b is negative 4 plus minus square root of b square, that is negative 4 square, minus 4 times a, that is 1, and c, that is negative 3, divided by 2 times a, that is 1. And this is equal to positive 4 plus or minus 4, negative 4 square is 16, and this becomes plus 12 divided by 2. And if we solve it further, we get 4 plus or minus root 28 divided by 2. Now this root 28 can be written as root of 4 times 7, and if we take this 4 out of this third, we get 2 root 7. So root 28 can be written as 2 root 7, and we can do it here. This becomes 4 plus or minus 2 root 7 divided by 2, and this becomes 4 divided by 2 plus or minus 2 root 7 divided by 2. If we cancel 2 with this 2, we get 1, and this 2 cancels this 4 2 times. Therefore, we get 2 plus or minus root 7. So we can say x is equal to 2 plus root 7 or 2 minus root 7, and that's the answer. D is x square plus 4x is equal to 1. So we can rearrange this equation in the form x square plus 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. We can say a is equal to 1, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to negative 1. By plugging the values of a, b, and c into the formula of quadratic equation solution, we get x is equal to negative b, that is negative 4, plus or minus square root of b square, that is 4 square, minus 4 times a, that is 1, times c, that is negative 1, divided by 2 times a. So this becomes negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16, and this becomes plus 4 divided by 2. If we solve it, we get negative 4 by 2 plus or minus square root of 20 divided by 2. Now we know root 20 can be written as root 4 times 5, and that in turn can be written as 2 root 5. So we can write this root 20 as 2 root 5, and this 2 cancels this 2, and this 2 cancels this 4 2 times, and we are left with negative 2 plus or minus root 5. So x is equal to negative 2 plus root 5 or negative 2 minus root 5. That's the answer. H, negative x square plus 4x plus 6 is equal to 0. So from here we can say a is equal to negative 1, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to 6. By plugging these values into the formula, we get x is equal to negative b, that is negative 4, plus or minus square root of b square, that is 4 square, minus 4ac divided by 2a, square root of 16. Now this becomes positive 24 divided by negative 2. Now taking the negative sign common from the numerator and denominator, we are left with 4 plus or minus 16 plus 24 is 40 divided by 2. We know root 40 can be written as square root of 4 times 10. Now this becomes 2 root 10, and hence we can replace root 40 with 2 root 10. So this becomes 4 divided by 2 plus or minus 2 root 10 divided by 2. Now this 2 cancels this 4 2 times, this 2 cancels this 2 1 times. So we are left with 2 plus or minus root 10, and hence x is equal to 2 plus root 10 or 2 minus root 10. That's the answer. Let's go to the next question. Rearrange the following equations so that they are in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and then use the quadratic formula to solve exactly for x. E, x plus 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 9. So let's first open the parenthesis. So this becomes x times 2x plus 1 plus 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 9, and this becomes 2x square plus x plus 6x plus 3, and this 9 comes here, negative 9. So now this becomes 2x square, x plus 6x is 7x, and 3 minus 9 is negative 6. So from here a is equal to 2, b is equal to 7, and c is equal to negative 6. Now using the quadratic formula, we can say x is equal to negative of 7 plus or minus square root of 7 square minus 4 times 2 times negative 6 divided by 2 times a, that is 2. So this becomes negative 7 plus or minus square root of 49. Now this becomes positive 48, and we have 4 in the denominator. So this becomes negative 7 plus or minus root 97 divided by 4. So x is equal to negative 7 plus or minus root 97 divided by 4, and that's the answer. G, x minus 1 divided by 2 minus x is equal to 2x plus 1. So we can say x minus 1 is equal to 2x plus 1 times 2 minus x. So this becomes 2x times 2 minus x plus 1 times 2 minus x, and hence this becomes 4x minus 2x square plus 2 minus x, and this is equal to negative 2x square. Now 4x minus x is equal to plus 3x plus 2. Now we take everything on the left side and we get 2x square minus 3x minus 2, and then this term, which is x minus 1, is equal to 0. So if we solve it, we get 2x square negative 3x plus x, that is negative 2x, and negative 2 minus 1, that becomes negative 3, is equal to 0. So from here we can say a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 2, c is equal to negative 3. Now using the quadratic formula, we get x is equal to negative of negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 2 square minus 4 times 2 times negative 3 divided by 2 times 2. So this becomes 2 plus or minus square root of 4 plus 24 divided by 4, and hence this becomes 2 plus or minus square root of 28 divided by 4. We know square root of 28 is equal to square root of 4 times 7, and that is equal to 2 root 7. Therefore, we can write it 2 plus or minus 2 root 7 divided by 4, or x is equal to 1 plus or minus root 7 divided by 2, and that's the answer. I, 2x minus 1 by x is equal to 3. So first, we know there is x in the denominator. So we multiply both sides by x, and we get 2x square minus 1 is equal to 3x. We take everything on one side, so that becomes 2x square minus 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now from here we know a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 3, and c is equal to negative 1. Plugging these values in the formula, we get minus b, that becomes positive 3, plus or minus b square, that is 9 minus 4ac, that is 4 times 2, 8 times negative 1, negative 8. So we get 9 minus negative 8, that becomes 9 plus 8, and 2 times 2. So this becomes 3 plus or minus root 17 divided by 4. Therefore, we can say x is equal to either 3 plus root 17 by 4 or 3 minus root 17 by 4. That's the answer. So let's move on to exercise 4D.4. So let's take a quick recap of what we have done. When we have equation in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0, this equation is called a quadratic equation. And we discussed that there are 4 methods to solve these type of quadratic equations. First one is null factor law, which we studied in exercise 4D.1. Second one is complete square form, which we studied in exercise 4D.2. Third one is quadratic formula, which we studied in exercise 4D.3. And the fourth one is by using technology, graphics display calculator, which we will study in exercise 4.e. We still have one small area of quadratic formula which we need to discuss. That we'll cover in exercise 4D.4. So let's get started. We know if we have a quadratic equation of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0, then the quadratic formula says that x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now, in quadratic equation such as this one, we get two answers. We get two values of x. Why do we get two values? We can simply say, because we can say that in this equation the highest power of x is 2. That means this equation will have two values of x. The highest power of x suggests how many solutions we'll have for x. We know from this quadratic formula, we know that we get two values of x because of this plus or minus sign. This sign plus or minus makes us get two solutions. First one for positive sign and second one for negative sign. Now suppose in this formula, if this second term, if 0, if the second term becomes 0, will we have two solutions? No, we won't have two solutions. In that case, x will have only one value, that will be negative b divided by 2a. So whether we'll have two solutions or one solution depends on this term. So for simplicity, let's say that b square minus 4ac is equal to d. Let's call it d. Now this d is discriminant. Now we can simply say if d is greater than 0, x will have two distinct real values. If d is equal to 0, then x will have, either we can say one value, one distinct value, or we can say x will have two repeated real values. Because second one is equal to the first one itself, that's why we can either say x will have one distinct real value. Now here distinct word doesn't need to be used, it is superfluous because one value is always distinct. So we can remove it. So we can say in case when d is equal to 0, x will have only one real value or one real solution. Or in other words, we can say x will have two solutions but repeated. In case d is less than 0, then we can simply say no real solution. Now let's go and solve some questions from exercise 4D.4. Use the quadratic formula to solve exactly for x. Consider the quadratic equation x squared minus 7x plus 9 is equal to 0. Find the discriminant. Now we know a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 7, and c is equal to 9. And we know discriminant is equal to b square minus 4ac. So negative 7 square minus 4 times 1 times 9, and this is equal to 49 minus 36, that is 13. 13 is positive. Hence state the nature of the roots of the equation. So we can say, since d is greater than 0, therefore we can say x has two distinct real values, or we can simply say this equation has two distinct real roots. We can say either of the we can say either of the statements. Check your answer to B by solving the equation. So let's now solve the equation. We know x is equal to negative b plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. For simplicity, from now on we'll write this equation as negative b plus or minus square root of capital D, where capital D comes from this formula. So this equation becomes x is equal to minus b is positive 7 plus or minus root d is root 13 divided by 2 times a, that is 2. So x has two distinct real values. One is 7 plus root 13 divided by 2. Another is 7 minus root 13 divided by 2. And that's the answer. This we had just proved in section B, that this equation has two distinct real roots. Now we can see this is first root, this is second root. So we have two roots. They are distinct because the value is not same. So they are also distinct. One has plus and one has minus, and they are real. Real means there is no part inside the surd that is negative. So let me break this down. Two solutions comes from here. Distinct means both solutions are not equal to each other. Had they been equal, we would only have either one solution, or we could have said two repeated solutions. And real means there is no negative value in third part. Let's go to the next question. Consider the quadratic equation 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. Find the discriminant. So we know d is equal to b square minus 4ac. And for that matter, let me write the value of a, b, and c. A is 4, b is negative 4, and c is 1. So negative 4 square minus 4, a is 4, c is 1, we get 16 minus 16, that is 0. B. Hence state the nature of the roots of the equation. We know D is equal to 0, hence the equation has one real root, or we can say the equation has repeated roots. See, check your answer to B by solving the equation. So let's solve the equation. X is equal to negative B plus minus square root of D divided by 2A minus of negative 4 plus or minus root 0 divided by 2 times A. So we have minus minus plus, so we get 4 plus or minus 0 divided by 8. So this becomes 4 divided by 8 and hence 1 by 2. That's the answer. So we get only one answer from this. Let's go to the next question. Without using the discriminant, explain why this equation x square plus 5 is equal to 0 has no real root. So we can write this equation x square plus 5 is equal to 0. If we rearrange this equation, we get x square is equal to negative 5. Now we know the square of a number can never be negative. So when we take square root, we get positive or negative of square root of negative 5. Now we have negative value inside the third part. Therefore, no real roots exist. Check that delta is less than 0 for this equation. Now here, delta is same as the discriminant D we just used to calculate. So delta is going to be B square minus 4AC. Let's write the values of A, B and C. So first write this equation in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So this equation is x square plus 0 times x plus 5 is equal to 0. So we can say a is equal to 1, b is equal to 0 and c is equal to 5. Plugging these values in this equation, we get b square, that is 0 square, minus 4 times 1 times 5. That becomes 0 minus 20, or negative 20 is the answer. So we can say that delta is less than 0. Using the discriminant only, state the nature of the solution of x square plus 7x minus 3 is equal to 0. We can say a is equal to 1, b is equal to 7, c is equal to negative 3. Therefore, the discriminant is equal to b square minus 4ac. b square, that is 7 square, minus 4 times a is equal to 1, times c is equal to negative 3. So this becomes 49 plus 12, that is 61. And we know as discriminant is greater than 0, so we have two distinct real roots. B x square minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. A is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 3 and c is equal to 2. So discriminant is b square minus 4ac, that is negative 3 square minus 4 times 1 times 2, that is 9 minus 8, which is 1. We know discriminant is greater than 0, Therefore, we have two distinct real roots c 3x square plus 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So now we won't write a, b and c separately. We'll use shortcut methods. Discriminant is b square, that is 2 square, minus 4 times a times c, that is 4 minus, and this negative together makes it positive, that is 12. So we have 16. Therefore, delta is greater than 0. Hence, we again have two distinct real roots. D. Now delta for D is going to be b square, that is 4 square, minus 4 times a, that is 5, times c, that is negative 3. So this becomes 16 plus 60, that is 76. Delta is greater than 0. Therefore, we have two distinct real roots. E. So discriminant is going to be b square, that is 1 square, minus 4 times a, that is 1, times c, that is 5. So this is 1 minus 20, that is negative 19. We know the discriminant is less than 0, hence no real roots. F is, so discriminant is going to be b square, that is negative 8 square, minus 4 times a, that is 16, times c, that is 1. So this is 64 minus 64 and becomes 0. Since discriminant is 0, so we have one real solution. Using the discriminant only, determine which of the following quadratic equations have rational roots, which can be found by factorization. So there is one rule: if square root of discriminant is rational, then roots are rational. And if square root of discriminant is irrational, then roots are also irrational. So let's solve. B is, discriminant is equal to b square, that is negative 7 square, minus 4 times 2 times negative 5, that becomes 49 plus 40, and this becomes 89. Now if we take square root of discriminant, that is equal to square root of 89, and this we know is irrational. Therefore, roots are irrational and cannot be found by factorization. E. Discriminant is negative 3 square minus 4 times 4 times 2, that is 9 minus 32. So this is negative 23. Here we know discriminant is less than 0, so no real roots exist. Now f is, so discriminant is going to be 2 square minus 4 times 8 times negative 3. So this becomes 4 plus 96, that is 100. Here square root of discriminant is equal to square root of 100, that is 10. Now this number is rational, hence roots are rational and can be found by factorization. Let's go to the next question. So this question says, for each of the following quadratic equations, find the discriminant in simplest form and hence find the values of m for which the equation has a repeated root, two distinct real roots and no real roots. So let's find the discriminant first. So for a, it is going to be discriminant is equal to b square, that is 4 square minus 4 times a times b. So this is 16 minus 4m. In b, the discriminant is going to be b square, that is c square minus 4 times a, that is m times b times c, that is 2. So this is going to be 9 minus 8m. And in c, discriminant is going to be b square, that is negative 3 square minus 4 times m times 1. So this is 9 minus 4m. So for all the three, we have to find the value of m for which the equation has a repeated root. So we know repeated root is when delta is equal to 0. So 16 minus 4m is equal to 0, or 4m is equal to 16, and hence m is equal to 4. So at m is equal to 4, this equation will have repeated roots, two distinct real roots. So two distinct real roots are when discriminant is greater than 0. So 16 minus 4m is greater than 0. If we add 4m to both the sides, we get 16m is greater than 4m. And 16, if we divide both sides by 4, we get 4 is greater than m, or m is less than 4. So m should be less than 4 in order for this equation to have two distinct real roots. And third one is for no real roots. In that case, discriminant must be less than 0. So 16 minus 4m must be less than 0, and hence 16 must be less than 4m, and 4 must be less than m, or m must be greater than 4. So when m is greater than 4, this equation has no real roots. These two questions are for you to do on your own. They are exactly the same as this one. That's it for this exercise. I'll see you in the next one.